Hello everyone, my name is Jennifer Stubbs. Today I'll be presenting my research proposal on the topic Teachers' Perception of School Uniform in Junior Schools in New Providence. I will give you a brief outline of what I will be presenting, the summary of the literature review, the methodology used within the study, the type of data which was collected, an analysis procedure, and the reason of the study. There is now a nationwide trend to adopt uniform implementation in various schools in New Providence. A message presented by the Minister of Education, Dr. Marcus Bethel, in August 1992, stated that there is a connection between the way students dress and the way they behave. He further argued that students have grown so fashion conscious that they are distracted from their studies, and that popular clothing has become so expensive that families are being economically squeezed by peer pressure. In order to attempt this research proposal, we must attempt to answer these questions. What are the benefits of introducing uniform within junior schools, and what role does uniform play within school? Number 2, does uniform create a positive or negative environment within the school? And number 3, what perception do teachers have after the implementation of uniform within the school? Uniforms has been a part of the school systems for many years. It was first introduced in the Bahamas in the early 1900s in various schools. So, with the implementation of school uniform being introduced in various schools in New Providence, many teachers think that with this implementation, the school will produce a calm, business-like atmosphere in which absenteeism is reduced, academic performance is increased, violence is decreased, safety is increased, and families no longer have to suffer economically trying to buy the latest fashion for their children. According to Meyer, in his article, uniform can improve classroom behavior and remove some of the causes of school crime, violence, and gang activity. Even though many teachers believe that uniform is good, there are few teachers who oppose the school uniform. They believe that it is a violation of students' rights and a financial burden to many families. As previously mentioned, school uniform was introduced in junior schools in the Bahamas in the early 1980s. It was introduced mainly to decrease gang-related activities, increase students' attendance, increase academic performance, and to bring changes to the school environment, making it more peaceful and conducive to learning. It also alleviated the stress of expense on many poor families within New Providence. With the implementation of school uniform, many teachers saw great improvement in student academic performance, grade average, which increased from a D to a C within the first 3 years of the introduction of uniform. Many teachers saw it as an improvement to classroom behavior and assignments being produced by students. It helped in the reduction of school crime, violence, and gang activities. According to Ms. Smith, a mathematics teacher at Anatole Rogers Junior School, stated that it is as horrifying as it may be to face the fact that students had stabbed and bullied others to pose an item of clothing before a uniform were being worn in this school. It is equally mystifying that so many young people spend large sums of money on these items with the endorsement of their parents. Uniform also helped establish a sense of discipline. It helped rich and poor children to all look alike. They decrease the influence of gangs and help to identify outsiders. Even though many teachers see uniform in school as being beneficial, there are still a few teachers who see it as a threat to students and families. Opposed teachers of school uniform believe that uniform is nothing more than a subtle harassment of students, a power struggle to force students to follow school rules, and an economic hardship for families who cannot afford them. Some also believe that it takes away students' freedom of choice, and it does not help students to become independent thinkers of tomorrow or the major goal of education. Here we will explain, or this chart shows some information of how students, after the implementation of school uniform was introduced, how the grade average has improved. And we will see that in 1984, we had a total of 20% of students who passed with a D and above. Then 1985, we had an increase of 4%, which brought it to 24%. In 1986, it increased to 26%. And then in 1987, it increased to 30%. So here we can see that with the implementation of school uniform, students are now doing much better. This paper used a research methodology of qualitative method to analyze teachers' perception of school uniform within the various schools. We had a total of 84 teachers were used to collect data from 3 of the junior schools in the Southern District of New Providence. Because of the amount of teachers and times, instead of doing individual interviews, we used 4 focus groups to get views from teachers. All schools were observed for 3 weeks, getting teachers' views, their feelings, and opinion on the positive and negative views on school uniform implementation. After collecting data, it showed that 70% of teachers view uniform implementation as a significant improvement to students' behavior, attendance, and academic performance. While on the other end, we had about 30% of the teachers who view uniform as a threat to students' rights and financial burdens to parents. Data was collected from the 3 schools using open-ended question and a Likert scale, which was used to analyze and interpret the results of the response given by many teachers. Now here on this chart, we use 10 questions on the Likert scale, and based